Hey everyone, Alex Carter here. Today, we're diving into the tangled web of global alliances, specifically, who might back Iran if tensions with Israel escalate. We'll break down the key players, their motivations, and the history that shapes their choices. No agendas, just facts, context, and a bit of global detective work. Let's jump in. Russia's relationship with Iran is all about strategy, not friendship. They've teamed up in Syria, giving Moscow a military foothold and Iran a lifeline. Russia helps Iran dodge sanctions and shields it at the UN, but only when it suits Russian interests. Moscow also keeps close ties with Israel, balancing both sides to maximize its own influence. If conflict erupts, expect Russia to offer diplomatic cover and maybe logistical support, but never at the expense of its own leverage. Russia's game is about maintaining power, not picking sides. It's a delicate dance, and Moscow rarely misses a step. China sees Iran as a vital partner for energy and its Belt and Road ambitions. Beijing buys Iranian oil, invests in infrastructure and quietly supplies tech, even military hardware. But China avoids direct military entanglements, preferring economic influence and diplomatic calls for stability. If things heat up, China will push for dialogue while protecting its interests behind the scenes. Don't expect Chinese troops, but do expect economic and diplomatic lifelines. For China, it's all about resources, trade routes, and expanding its global reach. Pragmatism, not ideology, drives this partnership. Syria is Iran's closest regional ally, bound by years of war and mutual dependence. Iran's support kept Assad in power, and now Syria relies on Tehran for reconstruction, fuel and military backing. If conflict with Israel escalates, Syria would likely offer territory, weapons transfers, or even direct involvement. But after years of war, Syria's resources are limited. Still, the alliance is strong. Damascus won't abandon Tehran easily. For Iran, Syria is a strategic asset on Israel's doorstep. Lebanon's connection to Iran runs through Hezbollah, a powerful force in both politics and conflict. Over the years, Hezbollah has grown from a small militia into a dominant player, shaping Lebanon's destiny and influencing the wider region. Iran funds, arms, and trains Hezbollah, giving Tehran influence right on Israel's border. This support is not just military, it's financial, logistical, and ideological, creating a deep bond that extends far beyond the battlefield. For Hezbollah, Iranian backing means survival, power, and the ability to outmaneuver rivals in Lebanese politics. It allows them to act as both a political party and a military force, blurring the lines between state and non-state actors. This alliance gives Iran leverage against Israel and the US without direct confrontation. It's a strategic partnership that lets Tehran project power across the Middle East, while keeping its own forces out of the direct line of fire. But Lebanon pays a price, caught in regional crossfire, with its sovereignty often questioned. The country faces instability, economic hardship, and the constant threat of conflict spilling over its borders. Hezbollah's social programs win support among the poor and marginalized, providing services where the state falls short. Yet these same programs fuel resentment among other Lebanese groups, deepening divisions in society. Iran's involvement stabilizes some, destabilizes others, keeping Lebanon in uneasy balance. The country is a patchwork of alliances and rivalries, where peace is fragile and tensions simmer just below the surface. For Iran, Lebanon is both a symbol and a strategic outpost, a place to showcase its influence and challenge its adversaries. The partnership is managed carefully. Neither side can afford to walk away. Both depend on each other for legitimacy, security, and regional clout. For everyday Lebanese, politics and daily life are tightly intertwined. The impact of these alliances is felt in the price of bread, the safety of neighborhoods, and the hopes of a new generation. The future is uncertain, but as long as the region is volatile, Iran and Lebanon's bond will shape both nations. Every new crisis, every shift in power tests the strength of this connection. It's a connection that can't be ignored, woven into the fabric of Lebanon's identity and Iran's ambitions. The stakes are high, and the relationship keeps evolving, shaped by war, diplomacy, and the dreams of millions. In this region, alliances are about survival and ambition, and the story of Iran and Lebanon is far from over. Iraq's relationship with Iran is a story of shared identity and deep divisions, shaped by centuries of history, religion, and shifting alliances. The two countries share a long border and deep cultural ties, but their political interests often clash, creating a landscape of both cooperation and conflict. Iranian-backed militias like the PMF are powerful, shaping security and politics, especially in Shia-majority areas. These groups, with strong ties to Tehran, have become a force that rivals the official Iraqi military, influencing everything from local governance to national elections. After Saddam's fall, Iran expanded its influence through political allies and armed groups. Iranian officials became frequent visitors to Baghdad, forging new partnerships and supporting factions that aligned with their interests. For some Iraqis, Iran is a partner in fighting ISIS and rebuilding shattered cities. For others, it's an unwelcome meddler, accused of undermining Iraq's sovereignty and fueling sectarian tensions that threaten national unity. The US presence adds another layer of complexity, leaving Iraq caught in a regional tug-of-war between two powerful neighbors, each vying for influence and control over Iraq's future. Parliament debates, street life, and even family gatherings reflect these tensions. Every decision, from security to social policy, is shaped by the push and pull of foreign interests and internal divisions. Despite the challenges, Iraq tries to chart its own course, balancing competing interests while striving for stability and self-determination. The path forward is uncertain, but the desire for peace and progress remains strong. Iranian influence is just one piece of a complex puzzle, with regional politics, economic struggles, and the hopes of ordinary Iraqis all playing a role in shaping the nation's destiny. The partnership is under constant pressure, tested by protests, shifting alliances, and the ever-present threat of violence. Yet neither side can walk away bound by history and necessity. Iraq's future depends on finding stability amid outside pressures, building a society where young people can dream and communities can thrive without fear. It's a house divided, but also a nation searching for its own path, one that honors its past while looking toward a brighter, more independent future. The story is far from over. Iraq's journey continues, shaped by the choices of its people and the forces that surround them. Iran and Turkey, sometimes allies, sometimes rivals, always pragmatic. They cooperate on trade, energy, and security but compete fiercely for regional influence, especially in Syria and the Caucasus. Turkey's ties with Israel and the West often clash with Iran's interests. Both invest in military tech and border security, watching each other closely. Cultural exchanges and business ties persist, even when politics get tense. The relationship is built on necessity, not trust. Each side knows the other could shift from friend to rival overnight. Managing differences while finding common ground is the name of the game. Neither can afford to ignore the other. In this neighborhood, history and geography make them permanent frenemies. Iran and Pakistan share a long, porous border that stretches for nearly 900 kilometers, cutting through rugged mountains and arid deserts. This border is not just a line on a map, it's a living, breathing frontier where cultures, languages, and histories blend and sometimes clash. Over the decades, the two countries have experienced moments of both cooperation and deep suspicion, shaped by shifting alliances and changing regional dynamics. Religious differences, Shia-majority Iran and Sunni-majority Pakistan, play a significant role in shaping their interactions, sometimes fueling mistrust, but also encouraging dialogue to prevent sectarian tensions from spiraling out of control. Despite these differences, security concerns often bring them together, as both nations face threats from cross-border militancy and organized crime. Both countries seek influence in neighboring Afghanistan, hoping to shape its future and protect their own interests in the region. They worry about extremism and instability spilling over from Afghanistan, which has sent waves of refugees and armed groups across their borders. Military power is often displayed as a show of strength, with parades and exercises signaling readiness to defend national interests. But these displays are also reminders of the mutual caution and underlying tensions that persist. The Balochistan region, which straddles both countries, is a persistent hotspot for unrest, with local grievances fueling protests and violence. Smuggling, drug trafficking, and separatist movements complicate relations further, making the border difficult to control and trust hard to build. On the world stage, Iran and Pakistan often find themselves backing different sides in international disputes, reflecting their unique strategic priorities. Yet, when their interests align, such as on trade, energy, or regional security, they are quick to cooperate, setting aside differences for mutual benefit. Diplomatic handshakes and formal agreements often mask a complex web of strategic maneuvering as each side seeks to maximize its own advantage. For people living in the border regions, daily life is shaped by both governments' competing interests, with families, traders, and communities navigating shifting rules and uncertain futures. The relationship between Iran and Pakistan is complex, sometimes close, sometimes distant, but always significant for the region's stability and future. In the ever-shifting landscape of regional politics, these complicated cousins can't afford to ignore each other, and their choices will continue to shape South Asia for years to come. Venezuela and Iran, unlikely partners, united by anti-Western sentiment and survival. Iranian oil helps Venezuela sidestep sanctions. In return, both get a global ally against isolation. Their partnership is about more than oil. It's about resisting outside pressure and supporting each other at the UN. Venezuela also courts Russia, China, and Turkey, building a network of support. For ordinary Venezuelans, these alliances haven't solved daily hardships. But for Maduro, the strategy keeps his government afloat and Venezuela in the spotlight. It's a lifeline built on necessity and shared defiance. North Korea and Iran, two pariah states quietly cooperating under the radar. They've traded missile technology, military expertise, and diplomatic support at the UN. Their alliance is pragmatic, not ideological. Both need friends to survive sanctions. Intelligence sharing and sanctions evasion are part of the deal. While the world focuses on their nuclear ambitions, they quietly help each other stay afloat. It's not about shared values, but mutual survival. In global politics, necessity makes strange allies. Qatar, small but mighty, balances ties with Iran, the US, and its neighbors. Hosting a major US base, Qatar also partners with Iran on the world's largest gas field. Al Jazeera gives Qatar a global voice but also stirs regional tensions. When blockaded by neighbors, Qatar turned to Iran for vital supplies, showing the value of flexible alliances. The country invests in the West while keeping doors open to Tehran. Qatar's survival depends on pragmatic diplomacy and adaptability. It's a masterclass in balancing competing interests. In a tough neighborhood, Qatar proves small states can punch above their weight. Thanks for joining this global journey through alliances and rivalries. If you enjoyed the ride, subscribe for more world affairs and travel insights. Keep exploring, keep questioning. Our world is more connected and more complicated than it seems. See you next time.